It's Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, Reformist Arevalo sworn in as Guatemala president after opponents delay inauguration. Bernardo Arevalo was sworn in as Guatemala's new president early Monday morning, following an inauguration process that some analysts have labeled a coup attempt by his political opponents. This was only the most recent attempt by those opponents to either prevent Arevalo, whose platform was heavily focused on anti-corruption efforts, from taking office in the first place, or stripping him of power and authority if he did make it into office. He went on to win the August election by a landslide, and ever since has been fending off efforts to annul the results, to strip him and his vice president of their legal immunity, and to suspend his Semilla party, which will only hold 23 of 160 congressional seats, which gestures at how much trouble he might have getting anything done, now that his ascension to governance has seemingly been locked in. From BBC News, Cape Verde reaches malaria-free milestone. The World Health Organization has confirmed that the island nation Cape Verde is malaria-free for the first time in 50 years, following long-term investments in its health and tracking systems and successful efforts to control mosquito populations. Malaria killed about 580,000 people across Africa in 2022 alone, and it's spread by a parasite that infects new hosts through mosquito bites. Addressing new cases early and extending its free healthcare and diagnostic services to travelers as well as citizens seems to have helped the country prevent the import of new cases, and this has led to a sustained status quo in which no new local transmission cases were detected in-country for 3 years, the first time that has been achieved in a sub-Saharan nation since the island nation Mauritius managed the same in 1973. And from the Wall Street Journal, Congressional leaders reach agreement on new stopgap spending bill. U.S. congressional leaders have committed to a new agreement that will extend existing levels of government funding into March, once again delaying an agreement on spending levels negotiated in the shadow of an impending government shutdown. This is basically the same stopgap agreement that the last Republican House Speaker made with his Democratic counterparts, and he faces the same threats from harder right members of his party to boot him from his leadership position because they once again did not get the hard cuts and government shutdown brinksmanship they were hoping for. The U.S. government has been operating under the auspices of short-term spending plans like this one since October 1st of last year, and the main issue is that Republicans have struggled to come to an accord over what they want to achieve in their negotiations, their senators tending to differ substantially from their House representatives in terms of demands. And while some analysts are suggesting the most likely outcome is the Democrats will accede to some Republican demands for heightened border security in exchange for smaller cuts to social programs, it's anyone's guess as to whether they will get there by this new March deadline. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.